Eyup, it's Louise. I got a stack of books for you today. I got 2 excellent ones, 1 very good one, 1 okay one, 1 meh, would you say? Meh. So, I'll start from the worst one for you. Right. Girl A by Abigail Dean. I thought it was just like, it was going to be one of those ones where it's like, I mean, it kind of is, where it's like, children have a harrowing upbringing and then escape, and then, oh, we find out what happened, but we don't find out what happened really. We just sort of find out what they're doing in the present day, and you don't really know the characters. So I'm like, I struggle to care. Is that bad? So yeah, they just sort of like drop you in and it's like, Lex is doing this and Ethan is doing this. And I'm like, who is like Lex and Ethan? What is their dynamic? Like what have they got going on? They don't really touch on what happens in the House of Horrors. Apparently it's like people online, when I was Googling, because I like to read other people's reviews, were saying it's like very loosely based on something that happened, I think, in California, for real. But it's quite weak. If you want to read this book, I'm going to say a spoiler, so cover your ears. Yeah, one of the kids dies, and then you find out, like, oh my god, she's been dead for like 15 years, but the main character still, oh my god, she still thinks that she's alive and talking to her. And it's like, wow, it's really boring. That's a really boring twist. It got to that bit, and I like audibly groaned, and my partner's like, babe, what's up? I'm like, they just ruined this book. Like, it was fine up to that, and then it got to that, and I'm like, this is trash. I finished it though. It was worth 50p, I suppose. Someone else can enjoy that, or not, because I don't really enjoy it. This one, my friend recommended this one for me. This one was the okay one. It's essentially this, like, there's a family upstairs. It's Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell. Yeah, essentially, like, these people come and live at this family's house, and they start like a weird sort of cult commune thing, and they do a sort of mass suicide, I believe. It's been a while since I read this one, and that's kind of weird. You see all the ins and outs of that, and the family upstairs really takes advantage. And it's just about, again, it's like, oh, the one survivor. This one had like multiple survivors, but this one is like, oh, she's the one survivor. She holds all the secrets, but she doesn't, because she was a baby when it all happened. And it was pretty good. It had a lot of, it's got quite short chapters, which I liked. I love a short chapter. Had a lot of twists, had a lot of turns. I enjoyed it well enough, apart from they put like a weird, unnecessary love interest in it for the main character. Like, she meets this journalist and she's like, oh, he's disgusting and has tattoos and is old. But then it's like, oh, but then they end up dating. And it's like, no, don't do that to her. She can be single. She can be single and not have to date this man who's like 15 years older than her, because that's weird. But it was okay. It was alright. This was another 50p Bernardo's buy. And it was better than Girl A. Getting into my good stuff now. This is Miko Kawakami, Breasts and Eggs, a book about being a woman and having children, motherhood, femininity, etc. It was originally written in Japanese, I believe, translated into English, and it's about these 2 sisters. One of them has a daughter, and she comes to Tokyo, I believe, to get breast implants, because she's like, oh, my body's ruined since I had children. And the other one is childless, and she's thinking, I wish I could just meet my child, not necessarily have my child. And it's a whole like moral implication, because she's single and wants to have a child, and it's all like the morality of having a donor child and raising a child on your own, and thinking, does that child want to be born, and childhood trauma, which I don't know. It was a little bit harrowing. It was a good book. I really enjoyed it. Quite harrowing. Does your child actually want to be born? Are you being selfish for having a child? That kind of like, I don't know, just touched the nerve a little bit. I don't know. I'm a very sensitive lady. I liked it though. I think she's got some more books, but I got this from Juno Books, my favourite feminist LGBTQ bookshop in Sheffield. It was very good, but yeah, I don't know, it was quite a hard read, some of it. I don't know, it's familial trauma. We've all got it, haven't we, ladies? Right, these two. These two are sensational. Both short story collections. Cursed Bonnet by Bora Chung. Amazing. So this is a collection of short stories. They're sort of like horror. Some of them are quite funny horror, so like not outright scary, harrowing. Harrowing's my word of the day. But yeah, the Cursed Bonnet is a lamp that has a curse on it and it's in the shape of a rabbit. And you're like, oh, that's kind of sweet. But that one is actually quite disturbing. But the first story in the book is probably like the least disturbing one. I lent this to my partner to read, but they've not read it yet. And I'm like, I don't want you to think bad of me for recommending you this book, because it's kind of messed up, but it's really good. So yeah, she is a Korean author and it was translated from Korean into English and it's really, really good. I enjoyed this a lot. I love short stories. But yeah, it says it's genre-defying collection of short stories. I think they're kind of horror, but like quite funny horror, like light horror, not like my other one that I've got coming up, which is just quite a horrible horror. This is horror light, gentle horror. Very good. If you can get your hands on this, I would recommend. I love short stories. If anyone else has read any short story collections that are good, let me know, because I love them. It makes me feel like I'm reading loads. If I just read like 2 short stories, I feel like I've achieved something. I feel like I've read 2 whole books when I've not. I've just read 2 short stories. But if anyone has any recommendations on short stories, would love that. Love this book. I love it. I just love the cover of it as well. I don't know, just the colours of it. Divine. My last but not least, this is one of the best books I've ever, I was gonna say ever written. I didn't write this. This was written by Mariana Enriquez. One of the best books I've ever read. The Dangers of Smoking in Bed. I love this. I love this so much. This is fantastic. It's amazing. It's wonderful. It's divine. Yeah, I just got this on Vinted not long back, immediately started reading it, and have already finished it, because it's not a very thick book and some of the short stories are like 10 pages long. This is more, it's quite twisted, again, I'm gonna say harrowing horror stories, or like based in South America. I think it's Buenos Aires it's based in. Do you like my pronunciation of Buenos Aires? As Duolingo, baby. Thank you, Duo, my overlord. But yeah, fantastic. Horrible. They're not all set in Buenos Aires. There's some set in other places. There's one in Barcelona, which is really quite disturbing. Reading some of them, it made me like cringe a little bit, like out of like, it made me feel quite uncomfortable. This is fantastic. If you like quite horrible, harrowing books written by women, would recommend. I want to read her novel, but my friend says it has about 1,000 million pages in it. That's me being exaggerating. I'm having a mare this morning. My brain has fallen out. But yeah, if you like horrible books written by women, would recommend The Dangers of Smoking in Bed. I love this book. This is genuinely one of the best books I've ever read. I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it, I love it. 10 out of 10. Big up Mariana Enriquez. This will haunt me for the rest of my life. Have you read any of these books? Do you have any book recommendations? I have a huge stack of books. You can't see them, they're over there. Over that way. I need to read, and yet I have no motivation to do so. So, I'm always down to buy more books if anyone has any recommendations. Anyway, my guys, I'm gonna go put these books away neatly. Goodbye, guys. I'll see you in the next one.